What's going on YouTube? So the new Tundra has been making waves since it first debuted a couple years ago, especially the super luxurious Capstone. And that's the $81,000 beast that we have today. But beyond that, we have quite a few changes to the Tundra lineup in general for 2024. So what are those changes? And how does this compare to the American rivals? Well, let's go ahead and find out right now. Now, of course, a fitting place to start out this review is under the hood of this truck. So, with the Capstone version, you're going to have standard the most powerful engine option in the Tundra lineup. That's going to be the iForce Max Hybrid Powertrain. This version is got a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 plus your electric componentry. Total system output is going to be 437 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque.
That is very impressive, and you have a 10-speed automatic, the option between two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. As far as your fuel economy, it's rated at 20 miles a gallon combined for this model today.
Now, of course, in this review, later on, we're going to go out for a test drive. We're going to show you the performance of this upgraded powertrain. We're also going to tell you about the other powertrain options available. We're going to get things like our signature sound level reading so that we compare this luxury truck to the luxury rivals as well. But first, let's close up the hood and take a look at all the luxury you have on the outside. Now, when it comes to the exterior of the Tundra, first of all, it is very handsome. That continues for 2024. Secondly, you have a ton of different versions that you can get depending on which trim level. You basically have a different grille for all of them. This being the Capstone means you're going to have a lot of chrome. This is the most flashy in the lineup. But I want to go ahead and get into some of those 2024 changes because they do actually impact this front end design. First of all, we now have an available nightshade model that is back from the previous generation, and that is going to be able to be added to the limited trim level to give you a more stealthy and sporty look. Secondly, we have a new TRD off-road package that's offered on the Platinum trim level for the first time. That's going to give you more off-road capability while still pairing it with all the features and luxury from the Platinum trim level. And we do have footage of that new combination as well. Now, one more thing. Speaking of off-road capability, you now have the availability to get a 3-inch lift straight from the factory, so you don't have to do that aftermarket anymore. All right, now let's move on to the headlights. As you can see, very premium, full LED headlight cluster on board. This is the premium arrangement on the Capstone, of course, so you do have the sequential turn signal indicator and the really nice looking daytime running light. And then almost every single trim level will come with the LED fog lamps as well. Taking a look at the rear design, I think they continue to do a really good job of making this look pretty muscular with the way they shape the overall gate.
Yeah, it looks really good. We also have Tundra spelled out across the back. It's going to be finished in chrome standard on the Capstone model. But Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside, and we're going to check out the taillights for this Tundra. Now, as you can see, we do have an LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and LED turn signal indicator. And this is not just any turn signal indicator, this is the cool sequential turn signal. So that's actually going to be standard on Platinum trim levels and above. So here's 1, 2, 3 reasons why you should pick one of those higher end trim levels. But very nice taillight design. Now, dropping down to this lower area, we do also have a chrome finish in this area for the Capstone model. And the Capstone is also going to get a chrome tipped exhaust pipe. And as far as your tow rating, this is a truck after all. You're probably curious about that. It does have a range of tow ratings, but as far as this Capstone model, we're coming in at 10,340 pounds as a maximum. Now let's also go ahead and check out the bed. There are a few cool tricks I want to show you before we get into that though. For one, this right here, you have your elbow release. It took me a few times to get it, but it's right here, integrated into the left tail light. Really cool, so if you have your hands full, you can pop that and just lower the tailgate without having to use the lever. Additionally, you might have noticed that this step popped out. That's because here on the Capstone model, we have a power deploying step that really makes getting into the bed super easy. So if you're going to be accessing the bed all the time, you might want to get the Capstone for that power step. Now that I'm back here in the bed itself, this is the 5.5 foot bed. There are 3 different bed configurations you can get in the Tundra lineup. The Capstone model is locked into this 5.5 foot combination. We do also have lighting here on the sides, a nice bed liner, and we're also going to have a 120 volt power outlet that's standard on the higher end versions of the Tundra.
Now, just like with your front end designs, we again have a very exhaustive list of wheel options depending on which trim level you choose. You're going to move between 18, 20, and going up to 22-inch alloy wheels exclusively here on the Capstone model. This, of course, is the largest in the Tundra lineup. They look excellent with all the color contrast elements. And speaking of color, these wheel arches will be finished in body color for just the Capstone to give you that more premium appearance. Up top, you have your iForce Max branding, and as we move to the mirrors, you'll find the chrome mirror cap on the Capstone model and fully loaded features. So you have power folding, auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, and heating.
Now here at the side of the Tundra, you have a really good look. I also really like that they've body colored the B pillar out right here. Looks really good in that blue color. Now, I do want to mention your cab configurations. This vehicle is available in double cab or crew cab. As you can see, we have the crew cab version. That is what you get standard on the Capstone version. Now, as far as your safety systems, Toyota knows that some of you guys are not the best drivers, and because of that, they are actually including all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment across the board, which that's certainly a big distinction compared to the American truck rivals, which often make you go to the highest end trim levels to get those features. But guys, the Capstone has an extremely luxurious cabin on the inside, so let's check that out. But before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's move on to the interior. Take a quick look at the key fob first. Just your typical Toyota key fob. It doesn't have any Tundra branding or anything on it. It is a standard smart entry system, though, on every single trim level. And you get inside, just grab behind the handle. When you do this on the Capstone trim level, the standard equipment, you will see the power deploying running boards come down to help you get into the cabin easier. Speaking of the cabin, let's go ahead and take a look inside this ultra premium interior. What makes the Capstone ultra premium are the exclusive details that Toyota gives you. First and foremost is going to be here at the seats. So the seating material is going to be upgraded to a semi-aniline leather, and it's going to be finished in an exclusive 2-tone finish. So as you can see, the top is going to be white, the bottom is going to be black, and overall this is just a really stunning looking interior finish when you see it as a whole, and the seats themselves are super soft, super supple. Now as far as the seat controls, you have a lot of adjustments here. It looks to be about 14-way power adjustment. And then we also have the power thigh extension. All of your upper trim levels will also come with memory seating located right there on the door trim. But let's go ahead and climb inside, take a look at all the other details. Now that we're inside, let's check out the other materials in the cabin. Of course, they're very premium all over, including here on the door trim where we have more of this white leather. We have the black leather up top with the stitching details. And as we move up to the upper dash, all of this will be finished in a leather material with stitching detail, although this one section of the dashboard is actually a hard touch plastic. Now as we come to the center, this is a great place to take a look at some exclusive Capstone details. You'll notice we have a beautiful wood. This is a open pore American walnut wood, and this is the only trim level to have that. We also will have Capstone illuminated here at night as part of the ambient lighting. And then down below, you have more leather, more of the walnut wood running through all these center sections, and nice padded material here on the side. So overall, very nicely done interior. Now to fire it up, just put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. Now that we fired it up, let's first start off by taking a look at our gauge cluster. As you can see, this is a full digital gauge cluster, but it does have truck-specific graphics on board, and this is going to be included on most of your upper-end trim levels as well. With the Capstone, we also have a standard head-up display, which contains a lot of useful information as well. Now, pulling back to the steering wheel, again, truck-specific Toyota steering wheel. Nice meaty feel to this. We also have the perforated leather on the outside edges. And the steering wheel itself is going to be power, tilt, and telescoping with steering wheel heating available or standard on almost every single trim level. But let's talk about interior storage, because you drive a big truck, you want a lot of places to stick important things in your life, including donuts. Everybody keeps donuts in their center console, right? And you gotta pull them out real fast with this donut dispenser. Just kidding, but as you can see, donuts match with our emblem. That's why we like to do the donut test at Car Confections. And inside of this center console, we can fit 24, that is 2 dozen donuts, to make sure that everybody has a donut inside your vehicle. Multiple donuts, of course. And that is very good for a truck, of course. And we also have our 2 cup holders in front of that. Up in the very front, you're going to find a wireless phone charging pad. Now, we don't have an electronic shifter or anything like a lot of this vehicle's rivals, so if you like that nice traditional feel, you do have that with the Tundra. You can bump over to the left if you want to control shifting manually. Now, when I go into reverse, that is going to pull up the 360-degree camera system. This is another one of those features that's available or standard on basically every single trim level in the Tundra lineup. And as you can see, you got both your traditional view, your 360 overhead view, and then you have a lot of different selections you can pick. So as you can see, we can even check on the bed, see if anything back there is sliding around. Very useful and high-resolution camera system. Up in front of that, you have your automatically deploying parking brake and your brake hold function as well. Now, as we come behind the shifter, we have our 4-wheel drive controls. You also have your drive mode controllers. And you can also turn on the straight path assist. This is basically a trailer backup assist. And you can activate the 360 camera even when you're not in reverse. And then let's move on up here to our climate and audio control area. So this big knob here is for our audio system. On the Capstone, you do have the upgraded sound system. So it's going to be a 12-speaker JBL premium sound system as standard equipment. And I want to go ahead and give that a sample right now. Overall sound quality is pretty good. You might notice if you've shopped around with some other luxurious trucks that the sound quality is a little bit more bass heavy with this JBL sound system. The other thing I do want to point out is even though the speaker grills look like they're metal, here on the Capstone there's still actually a plastic finish, so I certainly would have liked to see that actually finished in a real metal mesh. Nevertheless, let's take a look at the climate controls. As you can tell, dual zone automatic climate. No touchscreen buttons or anything like that. They're all physically rendered right there. So long as you choose at least the limited trim level, you will also find 3-stage heated seats and 3-stage ventilated seats. Now let's take a look at the display. So you got 2 different displays that you can pick just like last year. An 8-inch display is going to be on your lower trim levels. A 14-inch display is going to be on your upper trim levels. And both of them will be running Toyota's newest infotainment system. As you can see, this display is absolutely enormous. It looks great. All the buttons are really large and easy to press. You do have the built-in navigation experience on the Capstone model. And as far as overall other features, you do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which both run wirelessly. Now, as you move up above here, many models will come with auto-dimming mirrors and home link remotes. The Capstone will come standard with the digital camera, so it will cut out all the rear obstructions. And then finally, up here at the top, we've got a really nice and large panoramic sunroof. As you can see, this gives you a really nice open feel. The front panel of this does open up. And speaking of things that open up, this is one of my favorite things that Tundra offers that none of the rivals are offering, and that is the power rear glass. So instead of having that little tiny window, you can actually roll down that entire glass there to give you good airflow inside the cabin.
Now this Capstone's rear seat area is so nice, just like a lot of the other luxury trucks it competes against. So let's go ahead and start by talking about the space, because that's a really impressive area for these crew cab trucks. 41.6 inches of leg room. We're sitting at about 38.5 inches of headroom, so very good figures. It is going to be a little bit less still than the Ram 1500, the Ford F-150, the Silverado, but really those space figures are absolutely absurd. Unless you're Shaquille O'Neal, you're going to be able to fit back here, no problems whatsoever. Now, I did bring my ruler here to see how much knee space there is with the seat adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". We're sitting at a solid 10 inches of knee space. My feet can also slide easily up underneath of the seat, and the seats themselves are very comfortable. Now let's talk about those luxury features. This is the Capstone after all. So we do have 2 cup holders right through here. Then as we drop down to this lower area, you're going to notice that we have 3-stage heated rear seats, but that's not all. We actually have 3-stage ventilated rear seats as well. So not only can we sizzle them cheeks, we can also cool them back off in the summer. So definitely thumbs up there for me when it comes to features. That's actually standard on Capstone and Platinum trim levels. Dropping below that, we have a USB-A, USB-C, and a household style outlet as well. Now here in the center, we have 2 cup holders inside. And then checking out the door trim. The door trim is actually going to have rear window sunshades, which is a pretty rare feature for a truck. That's also on the Platinum and Capstone trim levels. And the materials are very nice. Leather on the top, the middle, and the armrest portion. More wood trim. We have a little bit of storage underneath of that, and bottle storage down in the very bottom. I also do want to talk about this, though, because this is a truck after all. So if we lift up the seat bottoms, no storage underneath for the Tundra. That's actually because the battery componentry is underneath of here. So if you don't choose the iForce Max model, you actually will have a little bit of underfloor storage, but for these fully loaded models, you're not going to have any storage at all. That being said, you can still fold the seat up to get whatever you need back here. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Toyota Tundra Capstone, and in this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our signature sound level reading. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with the hard acceleration so you can see what this iForce Max powertrain is all about.
Woo.
Yeah.
And that was 60 miles an hour, just like that. It's certainly a very quick option when you choose the iForce Max, because it does have a maximum power, as we kind of discussed with the spec dump at the beginning. So just to recap a little bit, 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, plus all the battery electric componentry, and your total output is going to be the 437 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque. So a lot of horsepower, a ton of torque.
Yeah.
And it certainly moves this very large truck pretty effortlessly.
Yeah, when it comes to torque, that's pretty much a class leader in terms of nearly 600 pound-feet of torque. And I think that's really what you notice the most. When you press that accelerator down, it just really pushes you back into the seat because it's so torque-rich.
Yeah, this is definitely the powertrain for you power-hungry folks. But if you don't want this, every other trim level besides the Capstone will come standard with the more conventional iForce engine. So that is just going to be the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, basically by itself. There's 2 different power outputs depending on which trim level you choose, but all of them are going to be producing very healthy numbers no matter what.
Yeah, it's 348 horsepower, 405 pound-feet of torque for the low output version. The high output, which is standard on the limited trim levels and above, that's going to be 389 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. So certainly not a weak option by any stretch of the imagination. So don't feel like you have to get this iForce Max powertrain, but I will say it is definitely very nice to have. We'll go ahead and get a sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. Official Car Confections sound level reading coming in at 54.9 decibels. That is very solid, guys. That's even quieter than I thought it would be, but I don't have to sit here and guess how quiet it is. I can actually go to carconfections.com, and on there I can compare to all of this luxury truck's rivals. And as far as how it compares to some of those rivals, it is going to be very much in the top end of the full-size truck segment. It comes in just a little bit behind the Ram 1500 Limited that we tested out this year, and it is a little bit louder than the previous Toyota Tundra Capstone that we tested a little bit earlier. That's the 23 version. I think that's just due to differences in the wind today. Today it's pretty windy outside, and that actually previously was the quietest truck that we've ever tested out, which makes sense because the engine can be fully turned off.
Now, as far as the other aspect of the powertrain, that's the transmission. We have a 10-speed automatic transmission, and boy, is this sucker smooth. You could see how it was going through the gears, just really fast and really smoothly. Also, when you put your foot down, impressive performance in terms of that response, because you've got the 10-speed automatic, so it has to, downshift several gears. Also, at that moment, the engine itself was completely off, and all that happened in just that 1 second. So they've done a really good job. Of course, Toyota is, a premier expert in hybrid technology, and you can tell that when you drive this Tundra because of just how smooth everything works together.
Yeah, and I do also want to point out that you have two-wheel drive as your standard configuration. Four-wheel drive is an option. And as far as your fuel economy is concerned, if you choose this fully loaded iForce Max model Capstone, we're sitting at 20 miles a gallon combined, which isn't bad fuel economy for a full-size truck. But I want to mention this because, as you can see, the engine's off right now, actually. This hybrid truck is really not made to be the most fuel efficient. It's really to boost performance more so than fuel efficiency. Toyota was very clear about that. So even though this is labeled as a hybrid truck, it's not going to be like a fuel sipper like a Prius, because they were really focused on getting you that maximum performance.
Exactly. No one really wants a Prius pickup, I don't think. Now, if you listen to this truck, you may not even realize that it's not a V8 because of the way that Toyota has kind of tuned the engine as well as synthesized the exhaust note. Definitely gives it a very burly sound when you're accelerating.
Now that we're just kind of like speeding back up, I do want to talk about your ride quality, because we haven't mentioned that up until this point in the video. And the ride quality of this Tundra is very good for a truck. Here with this Capstone trim level, you actually just have the standard suspension set up unless you option for the available rear air suspension, which is actually an option on the vast majority of trim levels, surprisingly enough. But really, that's not made to tune the suspension too differently. But I will say, with the 22-inch alloy wheels, the ride quality is pretty darn good. The seats are very comfortable as well. It is going to be lacking behind something like a Ram 1500 with the full air suspension that you will get on the limited trim level. So do keep that in mind. It's not the best ride quality for a luxury truck, but it is still very good.
Yeah, I'd say it's right in line with F-150 and Silverado.
And let's go ahead and get into our slam dunk and airball, our favorite element and our least favorite element. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the slam dunk?
For the slam dunk, I'm going to stick with the exterior design. Really, I could say the whole design, actually. Just really nicely done. I think it's well executed. It looks tough. It looks luxurious. It really emphasizes that kind of demeanor that people really want to see with a truck, and it's very modern looking as well.
Yeah. And as far as the airball is concerned, it is going to be the price, and it's not necessarily a price that's out of line with those main American rivals like Ram and Silverado and what am I forgetting? Ford F-150. It's not really out of line of those, but we really would love to have seen the Tundra come in at a little bit cheaper of a price point than some of those American rivals, so that maybe you could maybe make a value proposition for getting one of these Tundras instead of those. But they've raised the price pretty significantly over the last couple years, and as you'll see, this model right here today is well in the $80,000 price point. So you are going to definitely have a stiff price for this Tundra model. And lastly here, I do want to talk about your warranty as well. You have a 3-year 36,000 mile basic warranty, 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, and as far as complimentary maintenance, Toyota does include that for 2 years and 25,000 miles. And let's go ahead and talk pricing for the 2024 Toyota Tundra. Now, if you'll come with me over here to the window sticker, of course, this is the fully loaded Capstone model. So for 24, we do have a little bit of a price increase, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. We have a base price of $78,800 this year, plus a few options. $1,850 is your destination charge. We're looking at $81,518 as tested today. There is also a further option of an air suspension for about $1,000 extra. So fully loaded, you're looking at about $82,500 this year. Now, if you're curious as to overall price increases for 2024, it is going to rise quite a bit. If you remember when this truck originally came out, prices are going to be about $6,000 more expensive when this came out in 2022. So Capstone is up quite a bit. 1792 is going to be about $62,000. Platinum also about $62,000. Limited 51, SR 545, and SR is still under $40,000 this year. Now, if you're looking to buy any new vehicle, the next place you should go to is carconfections.com/newcarquotes. On there, we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. Also, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for negotiating with your dealership. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. Well, guys, that's going to be all for our in-depth review of the 2024 Toyota Tundra Capstone. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get access to a ton of new car videos that you won't want to miss out on, including the Toyota Tundra, which will be coming, or Toyota Tacoma, excuse me, which will be coming to our channel very soon. If you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support and for being a part of our family. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.